something that Occupy creates. Rather, it simply puts a spotlight on the exact issue that when you are homeless, you have no basic freedom of association when you're living on the streets. Now, you do have that to the extent that you can determine where your property is or where you choose to rent from, or where you choose, the neighborhood you choose to live in. But you don't have that freedom when you're homeless. And so, and this is where I run into the most difficulty with the decision in front of us, is that a lot of people who've otherwise never been able to articulate their values, their beliefs, their desires, and what they would like to see in our society, and to be able to meet together with other people and form consensus around values, which has actually taken place in this field. I've watched a creature come to life over the past 7 or 8 weeks as a group of people pulled together, got to know each other, shared experiences with one another, and became, and for a lot of these people, they were not very aware of the social issues surrounding homelessness beyond that which they confronted in their own day-to-day lives. To put that in a grander perspective, for them to be able to see the relations between these things was for many an eye-opener. But for many who came to us, they had already been aware of these issues for many years, and found an opportunity to voice that, to speak, and to speak out, to be heard. And what's saddened for me mostly in the contemplation of the encampment ending is that, number one, it's precisely this group of people will no longer be able to do that, because there will not be a space for them to do that. And that the people that I have gotten to know and share this experience with will not be able to participate in the same things with me because of the lack of transportation, because of the lack of communication, for a variety of different reasons. And so I hope that in contemplating ending the camping provision, that you do realize that that whether or not this is your intent and whether or not this is something you desire, you are effectively curtailing the First Amendment rights of these people. Now, is it your responsibility to provide that? I would say no. But just as a gatekeeper on this issue, you fall into that role.
It's indirectly. Yeah. I don't know that I disagree with you on that, but certainly not restricting your ability to assemble, to protest, to communicate, to congregate. That's not our intent or wishes. We just, what we're saying is that we can't put up tents and stay there indefinitely overnight. So, as we move forward, the permit that we'll assume that you're still issuing, and still want us to issue a permit for this event, will be for, as I described, will be for assembly, will be for congregating, it will be for the tent to continue to exist. It's permitted. We will continue to, as a government, provide power to that facility. It will be your responsibility to maintain the porta-john, make sure that that's working for the members. And but after January 2nd, we would expect for the tents to be removed and that operation disassembled. There are the only options that I have, Jason, relative to other parks. That it's I told you talk to Metro Parks. There are primitive camping venues available. Jefferson Forest, Otter Creek Park, Keep Abandoned may be available for a portion of January. But those are the only 3 parks that come to mind from the standpoint of Metro Parks. Marty Storch, he's Ken, he's the assistant director. Marty and I have had the conversation. I said the Occupy folks may be calling you about making arrangements for the 2 Metro Parks listed in the parks that are camping available.
Let me speak back just
Sure.
one second.
Yeah.
Sean? Yes. Thank you. You said which one?
Well, Eva Bannon is available until, I think Maureen said until mid-January, so they have a couple of events set up. So maybe it has. And then Jefferson Memorial does have, those are this month.
Salvation Army though. It's dead. It's cleaner, it's safer. Yes, and it is at the shelter.
I can't necessarily, speak for the group, but Jason and I had talked about this, and perhaps we would get some sort of consensus here, but I guess, okay, I think everyone would agree, for our purposes, if there's going to be denial for what was originally requested, we'd like to just go ahead and get that in writing. Sure. And then if later on at the GA, a group wants to go ahead and ask for a permit to have the 1/10 there, then we'll do another permit process. But just for appeal process purposes, if we could just go ahead and get that denial, and I guess Jason applied originally, so that could then go to Jason. Sure. So
I'll give Caroline the original permit requested for continuation of the camping and the special events, then we'll deny on the basis that we can't issue for the camping facility.
So do you all plan to leave on the second?
well, we cannot say. We would have to. It's a unique group. It will have to be a assembly, and it will have to be discussed, and then that will be determined.
So the article in the paper today stating that you will not move is not true?
Well, I'm not sure which person said that. That was one person's thought as to what would probably happen, but there has not been any decision made as to that, and that's certainly something that all of this group and more will have to decide.
Well, one of the things that I'm very proud of, and I'm sure that I speak for everyone on this side of the table and probably on your side of the table, is thus far we've done a good job of working together to give you all your First Amendment rights and give you an opportunity to voice your disapproval of a number of different things, a few of which you have highlighted are coming to a head. I'm hopeful that even in a time of where you all are asked to move and you refuse to do so, that we can still do that in partnership. In no way are we interested in hurting anyone or anyone getting hurt, having any kind of physical confrontation, because thus far we've had a great relationship. And Louisville should be a model of how to handle the Occupy movement for the nation. I think we've done a good job with that. Thus far we've only had maybe, I think, a few citations from a few people who tried to hijack your movement that will come along with that, and we address that. We've shown a great amount of restraint in dealing with issues, even when we didn't have compliance, where we came to you and we talked to you. And we're hopeful that if you decide to say, hey, January the 2nd, we're standing our grounds, we're not going to move out of here. Once that decision is made, if that is your decision, we're hopeful that you will still be respectful if we have to do an eviction, because we don't want a physical confrontation. We don't want anything to be bad. We don't want anyone to feel like that you all are being mistreated, and we don't want to do anything like that, nor will we do that. We've always been compassionate about this. We will continue to do that, but we also have, there's a line being drawn in the sand, that's clear. But we were hopeful that this will remain respectful on both sides in the event that it comes to that.
Well, what I would say in response to that is one thing I could say on behalf of this group, and you can, everybody, because I know this from checking on the website, one thing very early on this group has agreed to, that whatever is going to be done, this is a peaceful, non-violent group. Yeah. And I can assure you that, that as far as anybody that is truly associated with this group, I can say that because that's been agreed to at the early GAs throughout. So that's something we can certainly agree to. Now, as to whether there might be some sort of civil expedience or something that were peaceful, I cannot say, but certainly whatever would happen would be.
And another thing that you all have done when people have tried to come into your camp and to cause problems, you all have identified those people for us and we've dealt with them. Please continue to do that. If whatever decision that you're making, if someone's trying to come in there and take a more aggressive stance or something that you know to be unlawful, that you don't want to be doing, please let us know that so we can deal with those people in a different light than we're dealing with you, because those are two different things. in the past that we've had with a couple of different individuals who tried to hijack what you're doing.
All right, well, thank you all very much.
Before we, I know that there's occupied folks and homeless folks, and we're all kind of the same.
Homeless folks are the occupied folks.
Right, and, but I've been hearing some things that are disturbing to me. Based on another aspect of this business, I know I can always get at it too, so, is the inadequacy of homeless shelters. And we need to know that stuff, David. And there's some problems there with the operation of our shelters. These folks, I need to know, because we issue permits for those folks. And if these homeless shelters are not getting it done and are not treating their customers, with respect and the type of service that we as taxpayers are helping fund, then we need to know that. And so that's important to me. I know, so.
Mine is just one of many stories.
And again, if there's a pattern with a particular operator, again, where they're not getting it done, and those folks they're licensed by us. The main purpose for licensing homeless shelters is if people are getting bad service and are not being treated respectfully, then we need to know it, and we'll take it up with those shelter operators to correct it. Yes, sir.
What I fear is if you end the encampment, a lot of the homeless guys are not going to go back to a shelter for numerous reasons. And you're going to fill up your jails by finding them sleeping someplace on the streets. I'll be one of them, because I will not go back to one of those shelters.
And I guess, we need to know why our emergency.
Is safety the number one issue that you all have with the homeless shelters?
Sanity.
My personal experience is, if you go to
Sanitation.
if you go to a homeless shelter and you go to take a shower, when you come back to your bunk, your stuff is gone.
Exactly.
I'm not going back to another shelter because I can't afford to go through that a third time.
Right, I understand.
And again, we need to, and I'm happy to. I know this is much more than you all want to tackle, but this stuff is important to me, right, to us. I mean, as a department, to make sure that we're getting these homeless shelters toeing the line like we expect them to, and they need to be safe. They need to be sanitary. They need to be providing services, and more than anything, you as customers need a way to appeal that to some agency that's going to help you give some answers